What's up guys? Today is part 3 of our video on the 1973 Suzuki TS250. In our last 2 videos, we actually got this bike from a friend of mine. It was sitting in his barn for 20 plus years and it didn't have a rear wheel on it. We pulled it out of there, we got it fixed up, we got it to start and run for the first time. And in today's video, we're gonna button everything up and we're gonna actually take it on the road illegally. My goal is to ride it over to the friend that I got it from, get his reaction, and see how this thing holds up 50 years later. So let's hop into the video and we'll get this bike all finished up. So in our last video, if you guys remember, we actually took this bike down the road and back, and when we came up to the top of the road before we reached the driveway, the bike shut off on me and I couldn't get it started back up. So off camera, I figured out a few issues with the bike. We're gonna go over that, get those repaired, and we're gonna try to fire this thing back up, get it tuned, and hopefully take it on a quick test drive before we take it on the road. So after inspecting the bike a little bit more, I noticed that this boot to the airbox has a really bad crack in it. It was getting an air leak and there wasn't enough fuel being sucked in through the carb, making the machine lean. So I actually sourced a part on eBay and it actually took me about 6 months to find this. These are very hard to find unless you buy the entire airbox and everything with it. But luckily a couple weeks ago I found this one. This was actually about $80 just for this one part. But I got it. We're gonna swap it over. We're gonna tune that carb and hopefully this thing will run and idle much better. So let's go ahead and swap that part out. So from what I can tell, the only good way to get this out is to remove the carb. It's actually a 12 millimeter. Remove the carb here from the engine, slide it out of the way, and then I think we can slide that air filter hose right in the middle there. And hopefully you guys can hear me good. I went ahead and invested in some better mics. That way I can kind of have my hands free. You guys get a little bit better experience when you're watching these videos. So hopefully the audio is much better on my videos going forward. So now this should slide back here. There we go. Oh yeah. So I want you guys to see the difference between these two parts. So if you look, this looks brand new. It's very pliable, soft. You can get the carb situated on there. But this one, I can't even, like this part is squishy, but this is rock hard. And you see that big tear right there? It's just impossible to work with. So we're gonna throw this one on there and hopefully that solves our problem. This one is in much better shape and it'll keep from having that air leak. So let's throw that on there. I have to take this battery out real quick. I was trying to avoid that, but I don't think I'm gonna get around it. All right, I struggled there for a minute. I finally got this battery and battery box removed. And if you look up in there,
Now you can see it's tightened down. It fits like it should. So we need to put our battery back, and then we're going to go to the other side and reinstall our carb.
Almost. Okay. There we go. Now. Okay. Carb is tight. Let's tighten the boot down now. Now this acts like it doesn't want to tighten. What in the world? All right, I lied. I was actually able to get that one tightened all the way down. So it's nice and snug on there now. And I think we're ready to fire this thing up. A couple things that I did off camera in the time that we made part 2 to now. I cleaned the bike up, detailed it a little bit, made sure that, you know, some of the grease and grime was off of it, so nothing special there. I did notice that the oil reservoir, there was a line that runs from the reservoir here down to the actual injection pump, and it was cracked and leaking, and so there was a bunch of oil and stuff that got on the garage floor. So I got that line fixed up, that fixed the leak. And then also, I'll throw a clip up here, but I don't know if you guys remember, the tank was really rusted out, and I went through the process of using vinegar to get it cleaned up, and for a while it was really good. Some of the surface rust came back, but it's still a lot better. And if you guys can see in there, there is some rust that came back, but overall it cleaned up a lot better than what it was before. So very usable, and I can definitely clean it again and maybe use a little bit better oil to coat the tank itself to maybe cure it a little bit better. But other than that, everything else should be good to go. We're ready to hopefully fire this thing up and take it on its first true test drive. So I'm gonna go get my boots on and we're gonna start kicking this thing over. All right guys, we're ready to fire this bad boy up. I adjusted the carb just a hair because with it running lean, I'm sure that I had the air mixture screw turned in a little too much. So I backed it out. Right now it's set to 1 1/4 turns out. So we'll kind of use that as our starting point, but we will turn our key on here. We got our neutral light, and let's start kicking this thing over. I mean, this thing's completely cold. I have not started this thing in weeks. I mean, it's been a while. So let's turn our gas on, and we'll see if she fires up for us. Cross your fingers. Oh, that's a good sign. Let's see. And again, we may have to play with the idling stuff a little bit as we go, just because we're fooling with that carb. So let me get a flat head here. I'm gonna have to turn it up a little higher just until we get it started here. Sounds like it wants to go. See if it likes to choke any better. I don't think so. We're got oil coming out of the front here. All right, well, we got it running, we got it idling. We're probably gonna have to play with that carb a little bit more, but let's take it down the street real quick, get it up to temp, maybe burn some of this oil off. It looks like the gasket around the exhaust there needs to be replaced. I'll have to try to see if I can find one. But yeah, let's get it going up the road here, get it up to speed, really get it warmed up, and then we'll try to take a look at that carb one more time. All right, we're ready to test drive this thing. I'm gonna take it down the road. My wife's gonna film real quick. So let's fire this thing up, see how it does, and we'll take it down the road. Sounds like it's wanting to spread out a little bit. I may have the choke on, I'm not sure. I need to turn that off. Let's see. Yeah, it sounds like the choke might be on. Might have to look at that. I mean, besides that, it feels real smooth.
I think the choke is still on. Ugh.
Too rich. I think I just need to adjust this card real quick. All right, so it is the next day. We got the bike back in the garage. I tuned everything. In the previous clip, I said that the choke might be on. I was confused between the choke being up or down. On these models, the choke is actually down, so it being in the up position is correct like I had it. But I had to play with the the air mixture screw and the idle a little bit to get it to come back down to idle, and for it not to idle so high when we were not giving it any throttle. So I think I got this thing tuned pretty well. We're gonna hop on this thing. We're gonna take it down the road, attempt to drive it over to the land, and we're gonna let Randy take a final look at this thing. So wish me luck. We're gonna throw on the action camera and we're gonna hit the road. My wife's gonna follow us. She's already left, so let's catch up with her. Got our key on. Maybe. Really? Comes back down to a nice idle, and it opens all the way up too. Doesn't seem like any of our gauges are working. All right, you ready? All right, here goes nothing. here for a second and look at it. So yeah, as you can tell, the bike is definitely nice and warm now. It's running, idling well. We got it up to probably 50 miles an hour, runs smooth. I don't know if this is considered excess smoke. I haven't had one of these old vintage bikes before, possibly. You guys tell me, does this kind of seem normal after we've cleared the pipe out? I'm not 100% sure, but overall, I mean, it sounds great. It's idling great, it runs great, it revs out all the way, so I can't complain. Well, that went better than expected. All right, Jordan, I don't know if you guys remember in our part one of this video of getting this bike out, Jordan here from Airbox Outdoors helped me pull this bike out of the barn after sitting there for 20, 25 years, something like that. And he hasn't seen it since we did any of the work. The last time he saw it had a bunch of dust on it. It was missing the back wheel. And now,
Much better.
yeah, so now we got it all fixed up.
And this is where all that was missing, right?
Yeah, the entire back wheel was missing. I had to buy all those parts off of eBay. This pipe was all cracked and leaking, and Corey welded it up for me. So, oh, I don't know if you remember the gas tank. It was completely rusted out, and I cleaned it a little bit. But I mean, there's fresh metal. It's a lot better than what it used to be.
With age on it, that's what you're gonna get.
Yep. But if you want to ride it, you go right ahead. You got your key on the side over here. So turn your key all the way on. You got your neutral light there. And
I got my motorcycle shoes on.
oh yeah, the Crocs, the official motocross shoe there.
Gonna get my toes broke off.
It's actually pretty easy to kick over. It's not too bad. You almost got it. There we go. You said you feel like you're a Nam?
Yeah. No, that's sweet.
So a little bit better than the last time you saw it.
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't think there's gonna be any more squirrels with them than that.
Hopefully Randy likes it, thinks I did a good job. But she's a smoker.
Yeah, I was about to say there's oil in there.
Yeah, all that oil burning off.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. So, well,
That one's been a long time coming.
yeah. we'll get Randy over here and get his reaction. All right, she's right around back. There she is.
Nice looking piece of machinery. The last time I saw it in person.
We'll start it up for Randy here in a second, but it looks a little bit different than the last time you saw it, right?
Will it scoot?
Oh, it moves. I haven't tried it, but apparently the guys online say they do wheelies pretty good. So
Oh, I'd say it probably would.
yeah.
When you sent that video, all those people was talking about the acres and stuff. I was like, you put that in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. They all thought it was staged, that I did it all, and I'm like, I recorded me taking out of the barn. And
No, that happened sitting in myself.
right, I took it off and I dumped it out into an oil pan, and some acorns came out, but it still sounded stuffed. And he said he took it to his house, and he noticed there was still a bunch of oil and stuff in there. He laid it on his driveway and just took a torch to it, and it just burned everything out of it. So there's nothing left in there now, but it was filled with acorns. I'm glad I got somebody to vouch for me though, because
Yeah, I'll vouch for you.
well, I'll start it up. We'll get Lucas here to film it. I hadn't started in a few days, so we'll see how it does. It's probably going to be a little smoky. But you haven't heard this thing run and right. I'm going to kick it over a few times, maybe get some fuel in there to it. Let's see. We'll choke it. Give it a little throttle. It's loud and it's smoky. But that's the bike. So it's turned out good. So I'm glad you could see it before we figure out what the next journey is for this. Well, if you've made it this far in the video, I would just want to thank you guys for watching this 3-part series on us fixing the Suzuki motorcycle. It's been a fun ride. It's come a long way, and although I'm in the restoration business of motorcycles, one thing that I haven't talked about as much on this channel that I would like to start doing more is how God is in the restoration business of men and women. He has really changed my life. I've come from a very broken background. I've been through depression, and through all that, you know, God has really used me and is continuing to use me in my family's life, in my friend's life, and even on a platform like this. I just want to be able to take the opportunity to spread that word, use this to reach other people. If you ever have questions, if you ever want to learn more, feel free to reach out to me. I've got an email that you can always find in the description below. But as always, we do have a lot more content coming for you guys. The Husaberg here, we've already started a new series on that. Be sure to check that video out here. I've got part 2 coming this next week. So definitely be sure to stick around, subscribe if you're not subscribed, leave a like, comment if there's anything that you have questions on or if there's something else you'd like to see. But I really appreciate you taking the time to watch till the end, and we will see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.